We've been talking a lot today about cities and things that are happening in cities, and I thought we'd change things up a little bit. And, oops. I thought we'd change things up a little bit, and here we go. Is this the button? Oh, the round one. Got it, thank you. I thought we'd change things up a little bit and spend some time with nature. Here, of course, is the American bald eagle. It's a majestic bird when you see it in flight, isn't it? Eagles have eaglets. And here is an eagle watching over its nest. If you look closely, you'll see two eaglets in the nest. What I was surprised to learn looking at these pictures was that eagles like takeout as much as people do, because here's one of the eagles bringing home something from the corner fish market. Now you're probably wondering what all this has to do with why we're here today. The reason why I wanted to show you these pictures is because of where they were taken. Here's a hint. Does this look familiar to anybody? This is the trash-to-energy plant in Hartford. I work for CRRA. We run that plant. And if you notice that patch of trees down in the lower left-hand corner of the frame, for the last several years, a pair of American bald eagles have made their nest right there. When I found out about this, I was surprised. I mean, who'd have thunk the symbol of our country would be living at a garbage plant? But it's true. And what I'm going to do is show you that garbage is actually the reason that they're here. Let me back up a little bit. Garbage is one of those facts of life, like cutting your toenails. Nobody likes to talk about it in polite conversation. I mean, I make it my business. I mean, garbage is my business. I don't like to talk about it in polite conversation. If we don't deal with it, though, the alternative is a whole lot worse. In Connecticut, we send, speaking of garbage, most of our garbage in Connecticut actually goes into one of 6 plants that we have in Connecticut that turn the garbage into electricity. We're way ahead of most of the rest of the country, and in fact, the Columbia University did a study not long ago ranking the sustainability of solid waste management systems, as we call them in the trade. And not only is Connecticut's the best in the United States, it also ranks ahead of many of what we consider to be green nations. We've got actually a very good system right here in Connecticut. Now, why are those eagles living next to a garbage-to-energy plant? Well, if any of you remembers Olympia Beer from the Northwest United States up in Seattle, their slogan was, "It's the water." And for those eagles, it's the same thing. Our plant takes in water from the Connecticut River, and what that does is it cools the steam that spins the turbines in the plant. It's kind of like the cooling system in your car. You never have antifreeze in your cylinders or in the valves or anything. And just like that, for the same reason, we don't have water actually gutting into the system. What it does is it runs parallel to the steam pipes and absorbs the heat from the steam and cools it off that way. When we put the water back into the river, it can't be more than 7 degrees warmer than it is when it comes in. If you've ever done any scuba diving in the Northeast, as I have, you know there's not a lot of difference between 51-degree water and 58-degree water. But there is a little fish called an alewife to whom it makes a big difference. Alewives will congregate around our plant. And the alewives attract bigger fish. They will attract bass, they'll attract shad, they attract even the occasional Atlantic salmon. What it means to the eagles is dinner. What it means to us is a very important point, that sometimes things that we find distasteful, disagreeable, can give rise to some of the most amazing things if we give them a chance and manage them properly. Let me tell you another story. Back to nature again. Doesn't this look like a nice place to spend a couple hours on an afternoon like today? If any of you has grown up in Hartford, has lived here for any amount of time, you're probably saying, no thank you, because you know that is the Hartford landfill, and you know what it was like for most of its existence. For many years, since it opened in 1940, the Hartford landfill was nothing but an eyesore, a source of problems. People complained about soot, about ash, about odors, all kinds of different things. And it opened in 1940. In the 1980s, CRRA began running it. And in the 1990s, we began installing a series of environmental improvements. The most important of which is represented by that gray pipe that you see sticking out of this chart. We have a gas collection system that we've installed. And what we actually do is vacuum gas from inside the landfill before it can get into the atmosphere. That gas is mainly made up of methane, natural gas. So we're pulling the odors out of the landfill before it can get airborne and bother people, but what it's also doing is spinning a turbine that we have on site. We actually use that methane to generate enough electricity to power about 1,500 homes. In 2004, we knew that the landfill was going to be reaching its capacity someday. We began talking with the city about life after landfill, basically. What the city was going to do with this 96 acres of land in the North Meadows along the Connecticut River. What that's supposed to be showing you is a drawing that was done for part of the future use plan. And what's going to happen with it is it's going to be used for passive recreation, things like walking trails. There'll be interpretive signage. The views up there are spectacular, and it's going to be a pretty cool thing. The city also is talking about using it for agriculture. They have come upon a way where they can build a greenhouse on top of the landfill that'll stay stable as the land settles. And what they're going to do is use it to grow hydroponic vegetables. So not only will it be a conservation project, it'll also put people to work. It'll also be used to teach people about science. There's not a lot of agriculture going around in Hartford, so this is going to be something new and really exciting. The third element is solar energy, and that's where we come in. In 2011, this is a red letter day in the city of Hartford. This is December 31st, 2008. That was the last truckload of waste that ever went in there. And thanks to our friends at Fox Connecticut for videographing it for us to have a lasting record of it. So we're going to generate solar electricity there. There's other things going on there too. I mentioned passive recreation. Now, why would anybody go up there? But it's a wildlife habitat. This bird is called a killdeer. And if you look closely, you'll see what looks like a pile of rocks. If you look really closely, in the middle of those rocks are 4 eggs. The killdeer is a shorebird by nature, but it's come to find a home at the landfill. It makes a little hollow in the ground, it fills it with stones, and then lays its eggs there, and that's its nest. It's quite a bit different there. Starting this year, we're going to finish the installation of a synthetic cap that's going to cover the entire landfill. If you notice the green overlay area here, that's going to be the last section of the project. The rest of it, the capping has already been completed. There's a synthetic cap. It's a thick, tough, impermeable plastic. On top of that, we've layered soil and we've planted vegetation. That's where you saw those wildflowers in the image before. In this area that you see with the red overlay, there's going to be about 6 acres of solar cells. We have been approved to get into the state's zero emission renewable energy credit program. And what that's going to do is help us finance the additional cost of the solar cells, but take the financial burden off us so that we can put those cells in for the same price that we would spend just capping it without the solar cells. We're expecting that those solar cells are actually going to be generating electricity by this October 1st. And we expect that by the end of next year, the cap is going to be completed. Now, what does all that have to do with this? Well, what these two examples have shown us is that anything, no matter how much of an eyesore, how much of an aggravation it might be, there's potential in everything. Even the city dump can turn into something that people can use and enjoy and benefit from if we take care of it, if we see the potential in it, and then if we manage it accordingly. Thank you very much.